Welcome to Storytime with the Walrus. Pull up a chair, grab yourself a nice drink, and let's get into it. It is time for the final Storytime with the Walrus for NaNoWriMo November. Of course, I saved the best for last. In the same vein as pissing off wizards, this story was created during a Sky Nation writing sprint, but I had been sitting on the idea for days. I knew where I wanted the story to go, but I had nothing planned, as with all my projects really. This story is my personal favourite, make no doubt about that. When a paladin saves the world, he calls for his god to bless him. It does not go to plan. Welcome to The Prophecy Gone Wrong. So sit back, relax, and let's get started.
My lord, at last we meet. I have travelled vast plains. I have conquered great evil, and recovered scrolls so old that if not for the knowledge transferring to me, would have crumbled to dust. All in the name of completing the prophecy. As I stand before you victorious over the great evil that fell the land, I ask that you speak to me now. For to speak to my God, and to hear his divine judgment, would make this journey all the worth it. The heavens racked as the colour changed in the statue, the rock becoming lighter, more malleable, more alive. The face began to morph humanoid, one of wisdom, power, and benevolence. Its eyes shifted and looked at the man who had called to his god. There was a universe of knowledge behind his eyes. Finally, the god spoke. How the hell are you still alive? The question caught the brave paladin by surprise. He did not expect such strange words from the all-knowing. His faith never faltering, he kneeled once more. My master, I followed your prophecy. It gave me the knowledge and wisdom needed to conquer the great evil. I thank you again. God looked down at the man inquisitively. Surely the transfer to this form must have been a lot for the deity. It might take but for a moment for the omnipotence to adjust to his new form. It raised a hand. The paladin braced for the ultimate words of wisdom. The statue facepalmed itself as it stated, Followed my prophecy. Half the world got swallowed to the darkness. I knew the battle would be bad, but we lost so many more before the battle even began. That prophecy I gave was the greatest chance you had to save the maximum number of lives. How the hell did you lose half the population? Well, it was the quest that your word sent me on, my lord. Seek the sword that covered in the hope of the world. The sword was behind the church. The church had splintered, and the ones who guarded your sword didn't believe the prophecy came from you anymore. It was a long drawn-out battle just to get the sword. By then the darkness was already spreading. And you didn't think to maybe find one of the other 7 swords that are well known across the land. I know about the church. I expected you to go to the Minotaur's labyrinth. You could have stopped the need for that drawn-out siege. But sire, I heard no words about a Minotaur. How was I meant to find a sword when the mythological beast is unknown? Did you even read the next part of my prophecy? In the land of the cow and the man you must go. Fight the beast that is neither. In his cave you will see the light of the world. Travel east, my son, and the bountiful cave you will find. The paladin looked shocked. That was about the sword? I thought that was one of the scrolls of knowledge. Ah, yes. Then there were the scrolls of me damned knowledge. Can we just talk for 1 second about those? Where did they come from? I cannot remember sending anyone to that skeleton-infested cave. What were actually in those scrolls, fair paladin? Were they useful? Not entirely, sire. The paladin shuffled. In fact, I don't think I used the knowledge I gained once. I assumed you sent me there to test me and raise my power for the battles ahead. What was the knowledge, paladin? The stone's god's eyes narrowed. It was a book of seduction techniques. But us paladins are sworn to celibacy. I assumed you were testing my resolve to the cause. So, you went into a random cave and found a book you didn't need instead of fighting the Minotaur. The thing I told you would get you the sword easily. Tell me, what was the darkness doing while you fought your way to the 100 ways to pick up bar wenches with a flute? We lost the entire town of Orcalis. You lost the entire town of Orcalis! I have big plans for one of their builders, you know. But anyway, you got the lost tomb. What did you do next?
The paladin shuffled once more. He had not expected the conversation to go this way.
The prophecy said to go to the ocean and meet with the mermaids. Did it? Care to elaborate on that? The land below land you must head next to find the creatures that sleep under. They will bestow upon you a great boon. Use this to travel to the lands of endless nights. Sire, if not for the mermaids living under the sea, where was I meant to have gone?
Dwarves! You were meant to go to the dwarves. I had set up hundreds of years ago the dwarves to build an armour to push back the darkness, allowing you access to the demon's castle. Why in my name would I send you to the mermaids? I have never used the mermaids. I hate them so much. Oh god, the land you bestowed to man is not good enough for us. We're going to live under the ocean that Aquinarius created. Damned brother. Just because he got here first, they think he's so great. You were lucky that to try and bring them back into the fold, they offered you that lantern. If you had gone there and come back with that sapphire you were so convinced was the ancient relic, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
At least Aquinarius creates obvious prophecies.
The paladin muttered. The ground began to get hotter.
You can stop that right now. Don't think just because you held back the darkness, I won't smite you. Because I will.
The paladin bowed in submission immediately.
That's better. So, let's check. Drawn out battle for the sword? Check. Pointless book of seductions? Check. Lantern instead of the perfect armour? Check. What was left? Oh yes, the subplot.
Subplot, oh holy one?
The priestess.
The one who is now the Pope. The one that you put in power. We had a perfectly fine Pope already. Why did you feel the need to uproot
my entire church? If you say the prophecy again, so help me, I will smite you.
But then, the paladin sighed. It was the prophecy. Find the maiden most honest, for she is the final key. Allow her to gain the seat she needs, and she will bestow upon you the armor you need to end the fight.
The god let out the loudest sigh yet.
Okay, tell me, paladin. Why was the priestess the maiden most honest?
Well, she told me her one goal in life was to ascend to the church and undo the tyranny of the last 300 years. She never wavered from that throughout her entire campaign. How could she not be the maiden most honest?
Okay, I see where you're coming from, but what happened after she became the Pope?
The paladin paled.
What happened?
She killed any who had opposed her and started to try and take down the entire order.
See, this is what happens when you let a madman take power. She has set the church back so much. Just be thankful she gave you an army of weak old priests.
Sire, if not her, who?
Tell me, have you ever been to the kingdom of Abalor? Surely you have heard of the princess who wants to cure the world's sickness and is focused on nothing but that? It would have been a quick job to make her queen, and she, knowing the danger the darkness was, would have given you all the armies of the land. It would have made that disastrous final battle so much less devastating.
Oh Holy One? Didn't the kingdom of Abalor get swallowed up by...
The paladin gulped as he understood.
Did you mean to say, didn't the kingdom of Abalor get swallowed up by the darkness while you were getting your tyrannical dictator into power? The answer is yes. Yes, it did. So, you have an army of old men thrown from their seats of power, and half the equipment I offered you. I ask again, how the hell are you still alive?
I don't think you will like the answer, my lord. It is not befitting a paladin.
What did you do?
See, we knew the battle was lost, but equally the Lord of Shadows hadn't appeared. So being with the light you, bestowed upon me, I rushed the Demon Lord's castle.
This bit I know. I understand the men didn't last long, not like a certain army you could have actually had.
Okay, well, I assume my lord knows how the Lord of Shadows Darkness works? The paladin inquired.
Of course I do. He spreads his soul far and wide, being the literal darkness. While in that form, his mortal body is weak, but the darkness will destroy anything that gets in his way. Meaning one cannot simply approach the man unless you have, say, a magical armour that destroys the darkness.
Well, see, if you manage to sneak past everyone and catch him while surprised, he dies very easily, and then the darkness just sort of goes away?
The god's jaw dropped.
Are you telling me the paladin, destined to fight one-on-one with the greatest evil in the land, stabbed the Lord of Shadows effectively when he was sleeping? If I had wanted a robe, I would have got a robe. How can you screw up the end of my prophecy too?
Screwed up, O Holy One. I did what it said. Approach with care, for he is not of this world. Only the sword of world's hope can kill him. But be aware, for in his awakened state does the end lie. You said to kill him before he reached his awakened state, so I killed him while he slept.
A bolt of lightning zapped at the feet of the paladin.
You incompetent buffoon!
The divine being shouted.
Does the end lie did not mean he would kill you? While the creature's soul is separated to his body, it can escape should the body die. The Lord of Shadows' body is nothing more than a vessel for the soul anyway. You were meant to allow it to reach its awakened state and then kill it. Harder battle for sure, but one which you would have been well equipped for had you followed the prophecy correctly.
So, it isn't dead?
The paladin looked mortified, tears forming.
Was everything I did pointless?
God saw the hero about to break and took a deep breath.
No, mortal, not completely. The darkness will be held back for quite a while. For the limited resources you had, you managed to come out of this alive. Be proud of that much at least.
The paladin looked up, his eyes red but not broken. It was a side of humanity that God did not like to see, even if he did believe this entire journey was actually pointless. The statue lit up as God began to ascend to the heavens once more.
Go and fix the message you have created. Sort out that new pope. That is the one task I give you now. Be proud of saving half the world and live a happy life. I must go now. I have a new prophecy to write.
As God ascended, a piece of paper fell by the feet of his paladin. On it read the following.
For next time the darkness comes. Number 1. Get the sword from the Minotaur's cave located at 13x 25-1. Number 2. Get the armour of gleaming light from the dwarves. Number 3. Find the kind person already in power and get an army from her. Number 4. Kill the Dark Lord in the awakened form. Number 5. Don't screw this up again.
This has been a fun journey, and to those of you who have stuck it out, thank you. It honestly means the world to me that others would actually have an interest in listening to my stories. I hope they've been entertaining. If they have, please don't hesitate to let me know. I love writing, and it's a part of my life more than anything else. It was just a passing fancy that sent me down the rabbit hole. It was Stormy that introduced me to Renee, who allowed me to develop my craft in new and interesting ways. I wouldn't be half the writer or person without them. I guess that is true since I am a walrus, but that's neither here nor there. They are both on the YouTube list, feel free to check them out, links in the description. And so we hit the end game. At the time of recording, it is Monday the 23rd of November. Funnily enough, as the word count on screen will tell you, I hit the target last week. Actually, I hit it on Friday. Great, you're finished! So the book is done? Alas, with all things, that is most certainly not the case. Let's start at the beginning of the week, which is always a good place to start. You remember last video I said that I thought this week would be a slower one. Problem with that is I had an idea already for me. See, I am a person that once an idea takes him, he will roll with it. This has caused complications in the past, such as getting bogged down into one idea for so long while others sprang up around me.
That is one of my burnout triggers, and why I'm better at anthology than long stories. The biggest issue I had when I got back to writing on Tuesday was that I left the document with one of my stories at home. Now this led to some complications as I hadn't actually finished the story I was writing and I couldn't work on it without the document. I mean, I probably could, but that's not how my brain is wired. So I decided to push on with a new character. 2 stories bouncing around hurts my head, but it was worth it for once Hester, yes, short for Hestastus, the Greek god of the forge, was born. The story flowed like no other. She is a genius, far smarter than me, and she did something I didn't think was possible. She explained my magic. Now, as a fun aside, I never planned to explain the magic. I never wanted to. It was just going to be a byproduct of something else and inconsequential in my head. So when I say this character explained my magic to me, you can imagine my surprise. I don't think when I write. I feel that level of editing is fine for draft 2, but I let the story take me where it wants to go normally. To sound crazy for 30 seconds, I sometimes feel my characters are actually alive and I'm the one being guided through their stories. For as limited as my skills are, I do honestly believe that. Not all characters, mind you, and dialogue breaks my immersion quite quickly, but Hester? Oh yeah, she lived. I joked she reminded me of my family quite a bit. I think the best characters operate like that. The ones who are unpredictable because you are seeing their experiences firsthand. Well, to be honest, seeing is the wrong term. This walrus actually suffers from aphantasia. So I hadn't gotten to the crux of the story and we were already at 4,000 words in. I had envisioned each story to be 4,800 words. Hester easily smashed that, as much as the dancers did and more. So she took 10,000 words alone to complete. And whereas the latter part of her story takes a huge turn from the original tone, I am happy with the outcome. By then I was close to my target and I still had another story in the back burner. On Friday I restarted that story and although it is ongoing, it is nearly there. That one is turning out to be another beast of a story, but for very different reasons. There are a lot of characters and progression in that one. So in the final week of NaNoWriMo, what is there left to do? Obviously I still have a story to finish. I also mentioned that I will be doing dialogue for the 7 gods. I started that this weekend, but I haven't gotten to actually write any of the dialogue yet. I did record some lines though, so we can work off that. Otherwise, we have an epilogue and reviewing all the stuff already written. The epilogue will be the last of what I do. Rewrites can wait until I've had some time to rest and collect my brain. I know what you're thinking. If you're over 50k, why are you continuing? Well, the completionist in me says that I stopped everything for a month to see this through, so I will. The realist side of me knows that if I stop now, I'll lose all steam, and the pessimist side of me knows that stopping means the story will never be finished. NaNoWriMo is just a good facilitator for me to get to the finish line at this first draft. That being said, December I plan not to write for at least 2 weeks, if not the entire month. I have to say these words because I already have 2 other anthology worlds in my head, and if I don't keep telling myself to take a break, I will break. It is important to know when to stop, and any more than a month solid and I will hit burnout, and that isn't productive for anyone. I will have one final update for you come the end of this month, detailing my experience and how I feel it went. But that is something for the end of NaNoWriMo, so see you next week. You get to hear me gush about the event just one last time. I hope you can join me then.
Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It was prophesied you would do so. We think. It is all a riddle, honestly. Catch you next time, and wish me luck!